All right, here we go. It is 10:31 p.m. Michael Myers Monday, August 31st, 2020. Happy Michael Myers Monday, everybody. We'll see if anybody drops in to watch tonight's live feed. And to those of you watching this after the fact, this is Michael Myers Monday, our new weekly tradition here on the HDN channel. So today is August 31st, and it is the 13th anniversary of the theatrical release of Rob Zombie's 2007 Halloween remake. And so naturally, I figured I'd spend a little bit of time tonight just talking about that film, some of the things that I like about it and enjoy about it and its sequel. I know not everybody will feel the same way. I know there's plenty of you out there that. Sorry about that. I think we just lost connection there for a minute, but I think we're back on now. Apologize for that. Anyway, like I was saying, I'm going to talk a little bit about Rob Zombie's Halloween and its sequel tonight, and just a few of the things. Maybe in its defense, I know there's a lot of you out there that do love those films, and like myself, and there's a lot that don't, and they're definitely polarizing to say the least. But this is the most passionate fan base in all of horror, and so everybody's going to have their opinion, and I'm respectful of everybody's opinion. I think there is no right or wrong, as I've said on here. I love all of the sequels, none as much as the original 78, but of course I love all of the sequels. I think they all bring something unique and fresh. And as I said a few weeks ago on here, to me the Halloween franchise is really a choose your own adventure franchise, where you can, literally take whatever timeline you want and maybe even change it up from time to time, create your own adventure depending on what you're in the mood for. And so I think that's the first thing to appreciating Rob Zombie's movies, is that you've got to accept them for what they are, which is something totally outside the realm of Carpenter's original. And if you go back to what Rob Zombie has said from the beginning, for well over a decade, every chance he gets, he said that the first thing he did was he called Carpenter, and Carpenter kind of gave him his blessing and said, "Make it your own." And that was the quote that we were told over and over. And if that's true, then obviously, I mean, why do we want the exact same thing when the exact same thing exists? So Rob definitely went his own way and did attempt to make it his own, and I think he did with those two movies. I think they are unique to the franchise. So again, I'm going to talk about this a little bit, but I think to appreciate where I'm coming from, you have to kind of step back in time uh, to 2006, the summer when it was first announced that Rob Zombie, the director of The Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses, was going to direct the new Michael Myers movie. This was the biggest news in horror. I mean, the excitement level was off the charts, not just for me as a fan of the franchise. Sorry, it looks like we were interrupted again, but we appear to be back. I was going to say I should preface all this by saying I'm a huge Rob Zombie fan from way before he became a film director. I was a fan of White Zombie the first time I ever heard them in the early 90s, and I saw them in concert many times over the years. I was a fan of Rob Zombie's first couple solo albums. As soon as they came out, I've just been followed his career. So this goes for me back to those days, and also I remember when House of a Thousand Corpses was first released, and seeing that trailer for the very first time at Ozfest a couple years before I finally saw the movie years later, because it was shelved for a long time. And then the follow up, The Devil's Rejects, being so different from House of a Thousand Corpses, and just really a statement of, here I am as a director. And so to come off of that and then to go into Halloween, I mean, it really felt like it was the franchise uh, reaching out to the biggest name in horror filmmaking at that moment, and kind of giving Rob the keys to drive the franchise. And so there was a ton of excitement, and I was completely, you know, following along, going to Bloody Disgusting every single day, going to HalloweenMovies.com every single day, like most people, like most of you guys watching, looking for any news as it came out, and I was prepared for anything going into that movie. And I can still remember seeing it for the first time in the theater. Um, it may not have been opening night, but it was certainly opening weekend. And I just remember having a big smile on my face the whole time I was watching it, enjoying all the lines from the original, the callbacks, and really enjoying the prequel aspect of it, which I think a lot of people would agree feels much more like a Rob Zombie film than the rest of it. Um, but I loved what he did. I really enjoyed it, and I think the film, again, you have to take it for what it is. You have to take it for, this is not John Carpenter's Haddonfield. This is not that Michael Myers. This is, um, I mean, I guess the biggest complaint that I hear over the years, and I certainly understand it, is that the remake explains too much about Michael's background, and it's almost too sympathetic to the shape, whereas Carpenter's is anything is the opposite of that. It gives no motivation, and that's part of what the magic of that story. So so hello, cheers, Mitchell. Yep, cheers. Happy Michael Myers Monday. Thanks for joining us. I'm talking about the Rob Zombie films, and yeah, as I was saying, you've got to take it for what it is, which is something totally different. This Michael, Rob Zombie, his generation, he's a huge monster fan, an old school classic monster fan, and he's said this many times over the years that he's a fan of, you know, Frankenstein and King Kong and these monsters that they are the foundation of horror films, but they are, they're from an age where the monster is the sympathetic character, and in many ways, it's the people that are the bad guys in those films. Ultimately, certainly in those two, in Kong and Frankenstein, and so I also look at it kind of coming from where he's coming from. Of course, it's going to be a little more sympathetic towards the shape and humanize him in some ways, which yes, it's going to go against everything that came before it. But again, that goes back to making it your own, and for us fans, for just taking it as a different flavor. I I love these movies, all of them. I love the characters, but I've said it before that I feel like, this franchise, when you get a different flavor, it's kind of like comic books. I mean, Batman and Spider-Man, they've had numerous artists come along over the years, and different writers, and do things that were controversial at the time. And but I still enjoy all of that, and I still am going to go see the new Batman movie next year, and it's going to be totally different than all the other ones. And I'm still going to love Tim Burton's, and I'm still going to love The Dark Knight. So, you know, I guess I don't buy the argument that any sequel or remake can ruin the original film or even ruin anything in that was canon, even if they disregard it, as this franchise has done more than once now. Um, I think the films that are out there are still out there. They're still there for us to enjoy, and so that's kind of where I come at it all. And I enjoy the remake and its sequel as a sort of an alternate universe of, this is Haddonfield, but not. This is a much darker, louder Rob Zombie version of Haddonfield, of the story that we know. Um, so yeah, when the film came out, I sat in the theater, big old smile on my face. I loved it. I enjoyed, I really liked the opening with Daig as young Michael. I thought he did a great job. It was great casting there. I I I like the prequel aspects. I know at one point I think they might have discussed kind of having uh, the first film be an entire prequel and then a sequel to that. I'm kind of glad, it kind of moves quickly, but I really enjoy all the prequel stuff and the young Michael stuff. Let's see. Rob Zombie H2 out of our control. Scary. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'll get to H2 in just a second. But yeah, he was completely out of control in that one. And I'll get to some quotes that Tyler Main has said about that too. Um, Speaking of which, I could go on, and I will talk a little bit more about these films. But it is Michael Myers Monday, and it is Halloween '07 day. So, and a lot of the cast, I don't know if you saw, but a lot of the cast um, posted some stuff today about the anniversary, mostly on Instagram. But Rob Zombie himself did post this morning. He said, 13 years ago today, Big Mike returned in my version of Halloween. Thanks to everyone for making it a #1 smash, setting a Labor Day weekend box office record, which still stands to this day, which is very true. That film, it was huge. I was just looking up the numbers so we could get it on here. But yeah, Labor Day weekend, the 4-day Labor Day weekend of '07, the film made well over $30 million its opening weekend. And that set the highest ever earnings record for Labor Day. And it still holds today, 13 years later. So obviously, people came out for it. It was the right time for it. Like I said, it had the hype. Um, I remember I was talking about going to Bloody Disgusting and HalloweenMovies.com. I remember even around that time, Rob Zombie, if y'all remember MySpace, Rob had a MySpace page, and he would put things on there from time to time, casting announcements and stuff. And I remember going to that like just every day, 5 times, 10 times a day, to get just any bit of news or images or anything. Um, I remember hearing about the casting and seeing Danielle Harris's name in there, and then all the speculation of who's she going to play and how's it going to play into? Are they going to acknowledge Jamie Lloyd in some way? And but I loved that little tidbit of just bringing her back, uh, but in a totally different role. And let's see. Mitchell says, "Thanks for the Scooby Doo update. Can't wait." Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. Yeah, Scooby's huge in our house. Absolutely. Rob is a musical genius. He did upset a lot of Halloween fans. Yeah, yeah, he did upset a lot of Halloween fans. And again, I've heard all the loathing and the hatred for those films. I just I like I say, to me it's just different flavors, and it's not for everybody. I totally get that and respect that. Um, but it was Rob Zombie doing his own thing. Um, and then to talk a little bit about the sequel, I know that one of the biggest complaints there, because I loved Malcolm McDowell as Loomis. If you're going to recast it, I think, like most people, when it was announced in '06 that Malcolm McDowell would be playing Dr. Loomis, I think a lot of us were just really excited about that casting. And I really liked what he did in the first movie. And I enjoy what he does in the second movie. Again, it was controversial. It takes this hero character and really twists him around in a way we've never seen. But in I guess in Rob's defense a little bit, um, and I'll put links to all these interviews I'm going to talk about in down below of this video. But in my interview with Malcolm McDowell from 2016, we met him and interviewed him in Charlotte at Mad Monster Party that year. He basically told me that the transformation of Loomis was his suggestion to Rob. That he was not interested in coming back to play the same character, and suggested, what if he's totally different? And then Rob immediately said, yeah, he's the one character that has profited from this tragedy with a book. And so and again, that's coming straight from Malcolm McDowell in an interview, which again I'll link below this video. And it's a very short interview, but he was very kind enough to talk to us a little bit about playing Dr. Loomis. And what he told me was well, his quote was, "It's a wonderful role, of course, to follow such an iconic actor as Donald." And he says, quote, "I asked Rob if he thought I should see it," meaning the original Halloween, "and he, Rob Zombie, said, no, maybe after. So I never actually saw it," is what Malcolm says. So that's another thing. He never watched the original, or and probably wisely as an actor, not to compare, be constantly thinking about the performance that came before. And so I don't know if he's seen it since then, but at that time he had not seen it. And but yeah, he tells us that in our 2016 interview that it was his suggestion to what he says. I'm looking at the interview now. He said, "Well, I first said to Rob, look, I don't really want to play the same part again, but how about if I play him as a real nasty guy this time?" And Rob went, "I love it, and you're the only one that's profited from this tragedy with a book. That's perfect." And so that's what we get. And again, I mean, nobody can touch Loomis in those original movies. We've talked before about how important Donald's performance is in the mythology of the shape and the pure evil, and how he is the true hero of those films. This is not that Loomis, just like this is not that Michael, and this is not Carpenter's Haddonfield. There are winks and nods, plenty, but it's a very different flavored film. But again, I go back to that feeling I had when I first saw it in '07, and it was like a breath of fresh air, honestly. It, because I was prepared for anything coming after The Devil's Rejects. I remember just thinking in my own head, what's Michael's mask going to look like in this movie? You know, Rob Zombie, maybe he does something crazy and doesn't even put him in a mask, or changes it completely and it looks nothing like the Kirk. I mean, I could have seen those things even happening, and they do kind of happen in the sequel. He does take it to another level where it is no mask at times, and very little resemblance to the '78 Kirk at other times. So again, hearing that straight from Malcolm McDowell as far as the transformation of Loomis, which is one thing that, but after I heard him say that was part of what he wanted to do in the performance, and it does make me look at it a little bit differently sometimes. Um, Also, not surprisingly, Tyler Main, when we talked to him last year at Haunted Screams Expo, he during a Q&A, we asked what his favorite kill was, and I'm sure you guys can probably guess. Again, I'll share the link, but what he said was the kill from Halloween 2 of the nurse in the hospital, which is of course played by the great Octavia Spencer, an Oscar winner. And so Tyler is very proud of the fact that he is the what he said at Haunted Screams was, technically, I'm the only serial killer to kill an Oscar winner. And I've not researched that, but I'm pretty sure he's correct on that. So let's see here. All right, Around the Fur Breton says, "Hey guys, I finally made it to your live stream. Awesome. Excellent. Well, welcome. Welcome. Thank you. And thank you, Mitchell, for extending the welcome. Yeah, we're trying to get the word out, slowly but surely, and make this a community event, especially this time of year. But I mean, it's not going to end after October. But yeah, as we get closer to actual Halloween, clearly, the films are going to be on TV more. We're all going to be popping the DVDs and the Blu-rays in. The new merch is going to be hitting, and yeah, as we count down the minutes to the new movie next year, well over a year from now. So thanks for dropping in. Again, please forgive me. I'm still getting used to the whole live streaming, the whole being on camera, as I've said before. But we have a small group of loyalists now that are coming and giving some good encouragement and some good conversation. And so yeah, so back to the zombie films. Just and again, I mean, I know we'll probably get comments of people, things they hate about them, and I've heard plenty of that. And again, I'm not here to argue or to convince anybody. I'm just giving some of my thoughts, and kind of how I take the movies. Another thing I loved about the movies is, I mean, some people might call it stunt casting, but I mean, part of what Rob Zombie does is he uses a lot of our favorite horror icons that the general public may not know all of them, but we, the horror community, know all of them, and he's done that in both the Halloweens brilliantly, in all of his movies, really. But one of those icons who has just only become more iconic even since the film is, of course, Danny Trejo. And again, his role is another role that it's from that early section of the film that I love, and I love that the whole "I was good to you, Mikey," and that's really kind of the moment that we as the audience, you're kind of sympathizing with Michael right up until I think then it's his character that really, uh, makes us take a step back and remember, okay, yeah, he's still pure evil, and he's still a bad guy, and nobody's safe. Even though, in the context of this film, of the Rob Zombie films, Michael is the more sympathetic version of himself than we've ever seen. And of course, going into the sequel, where you actually get inside of Michael's head, which nobody has ever done, and that's a whole nother thing, that a whole nother level of making it your own, I think. And just if you're going to go there, go all the way. And it's kind of like the Season of the Witch or the Curse of Michael Myers, where it's like, uh, not to get off the subject, but I think of those two films when I think of Rob Zombie's Halloween too, because it's so polarizing. The anniversary of that, by the way, was on Friday, the 28th. But it's so polarizing and so different. But I also feel like it's going to, in 10 or 20 years, probably be more popular than ever, kind of in the way that Halloween 3 has grown in popularity in the last decade or so. And I think a little bit of that's starting with Curse of Michael Myers, because they're so out of the box. And it's almost like, if you're gonna do something different, make it your own, and go and be different, I guess. So so let's see. Gave him total control, just like H3. Yeah. Frequent reader on the site. Well, thank you, Breton. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, his Halloween was definitely different. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's to say the least. It was different. It was his own. And I think the sequel was even more a Rob Zombie film than the remake. Um, but again, I loved a lot of things about that, and I know a lot of us felt for Danny Trejo's character. Just to get back to that for just a minute, because I was going back through some of our interviews we've done over the years with different people and pulling a few quotes uh, from those interviews. And when we met Danny Trejo, this was back in 2015, again at Mad Monster Party. He was a guest there that year. And he had just done the Super Bowl commercial, if you remember that, the Brady Bunch Snickers commercial. And yeah, so his quote when we talked about Rob Zombie's Halloween, Danny says, quote, "You know what's so funny is when we first did that movie, they didn't kill me. I rapped and I left, and they didn't kill me. Then when they watched it, they said, wait a minute, nobody wants him. Got some good news and some bad news. The good news is we have to kill you." I said, well, what's the bad news? And he said, we have to see your agent again. And he laughs. So they had already rapped on him, meaning that they had to work it out with the agent. He had to come back and shoot the death, because originally that character wasn't going to die. So that would have left some room for Michael to be more redeemable. But it was a thought later on to bring Danny back and to kill off that character, because that is the moment where that kill, I think, more than anything up to that point, is definitely irredeemable. Because I was good to you, Mikey. And Trejo says, literally nobody wanted me to die. They go, Danny, why did he kill you? Yeah. So we're not the only one. Um, we're not the only one that love that character. He wanted to come back too, but it's not always to be. So Over 47 million. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was looking at a 30 million figure. Yeah, 47 million total. Yeah, they made like 30 million that first weekend in '07, and yeah, the second one obviously did not do as well financially, and it was up against Final Destination that weekend too, if you remember, 2 years later in 2009. That, again, a very different flavored Halloween movie. Um, and I get a lot of the confusion and frustration from fans about that movie. Fans, but I've heard it all different ways. I've heard some fans love the remake and they hate the sequel. Other people hate the remake, but they love the sequel, and then a lot of people hate both of them, and a lot of people really love both of them. Um, Again, to me, it goes back to what I said before. It's a different flavor of Haddonfield, of Michael Myers. Um, I do say that if we're talking about the sequel, especially, I mean, and when I'm talking about both these movies, I'm really talking about the director's cuts. But certainly with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, you really have to see the director's cut because there's a good 15 minutes or so of footage that is not in the theatrical, and it's good stuff that, I think it's some of Scout and Danielle's best work on, from either of the movies is in the director's cut, not in the theatrical. They cut out some of Scout's best stuff. Some of the stuff with the therapist, played by Margot Kidder, and some great stuff. It's just not even minutes in some cases, just seconds, but some really good seconds that you know deepen a lot of what's going on in there. And of course, the great Daniel Roebuck, he was he very small part in the first Halloween '07 as the owner of the strip club where Sherry Moon Zombie's character works. And then they brought him back in Halloween 2. And when I interviewed him, this also was 5 years ago now, back in 2015. I interviewed Mr. Roebuck, and we talked about all kinds of great stuff. But he's a huge horror geek like us, and a Halloween fan. And in addition to being friends with Rob Zombie, and he's in like all of his movies, and in addition to tons of other great films and great performances. But he was a great guy to talk to, and I was just going to read a little bit of a quote from when he was talking about his death scene with Tyler Mane, and basically how he was geeking out even while being on the set and filming. And this was during Halloween 2. He had done uh, uh, like a day or two of Halloween 1, and then it didn't really make the film, just like a few seconds, I think, which may only be in the director's cut. Actually, it's been a while since I've watched the theatrical cut, but yeah, what everybody remembers him in is the scene in the strip club in Halloween 2, um, where you've got Sylvia Jeffries plays the stripper, and Michael ends up throwing her into the mirror, and Daniel Roebuck is the owner of the strip club, and so so this is um, Daniel Roebuck again in 2015 talking to me about filming that scene. And again, you can find all these links down below this video after I'm done. Um, and I encourage you to check them out on HalloweenDailyNews.com. I'm just trying to do a little flashback to some of our past interviews that are relevant to this anniversary today. And yeah, so what he says is, quote, to have that scene when Michael Myers walks in. Okay, first and foremost, I'm the actor in the scene. Secondly, I'm the character that I'm playing. It's not that complicated, but I've got to respond like the character. But here was the hardest thing, not being Dan Roebuck, the complete and utter film nerd, when it's like, oh my God, that's Michael Myers. I'm in a movie with him. Can I have your autograph, Michael Myers? What mask is that you're wearing, Michael Myers? Is that the Don Post one? It was just great fun. And he goes on to talk more about it, but I just love hearing that from him, that he was inside geeking out about getting killed by Michael Myers, because what horror fan doesn't daydream about what that would be like uh, to be in a film like that. So, like I said, I'll link all those interviews down below, and it's all good stuff and good little tidbits about those films, um, and more to come here soon. Let's see. Awesome, Mitch. Yeah, they'll release 2 weeks apart. Halloween Kills and Batman. Yep, yep. Yeah, it's going to be a busy October for sure. I'm just hoping theaters are back open and everything is in order and we can enjoy getting back out to the theaters because yeah, next October is looking great already. Absolutely. Let's see. Oh yeah, and I was going to talk about the cast members today. I said that Rob Zombie posted a little thing on IG. Uh, Dag, first thing this morning, I saw that he had posted some photos, some flashback photos, and his caption said 13 years at the top. Big thanks to my man Rob Zombie for putting me in the position to be the only horror icon in the rap game. And and he goes on to say that he's going to be in the Emmy-winning show The Bay. I've not seen The Bay, but that's awesome news for Dag. And yeah, he's got a huge following now as a rapper, and he is, I think, safe to say, the only legitimate horror icon in the rap game. So that is pretty awesome. And yeah, I would love to hear Dag and Rob Zombie collaborate on something, maybe something about Haddonfield, about Halloween. Scout, she actually did IG live broadcasts today with Tyler Main, which I haven't seen. I was at a photo shoot when they were doing it, but some of you guys might have seen it. If so, let me know what I missed. Hopefully, I'll be able to watch it later on tonight. But they were, flashing back, talking about today, and she posted on IG. She says, "Happy anniversary to the first Halloween. I met long-lasting family during these shoots. The memories and people I'll cherish forever." And then she said, "Going live with the big guy at 4:30 today." So, again, maybe you guys saw her live thing. I'm gonna try to check it out after I get done here, and we can talk about it next week and see what they said. Um, Also, last week, Christina Klebe, I don't know if you saw, but she was actually watching Halloween '07. It was airing on the Sci-Fi Channel, and she put in her IG stories. I think it was maybe Tuesday night, Wednesday night. She tagged us, and she was reciting lines from the film that her character Linda said in the opening moments of the film, and she still remembers the lines perfectly, and that was pretty awesome, and that she was enjoying watching it, and that she tagged us, and we reposted it in our stories. Hopefully, you guys saw that. So she's very aware and proud of her work, and so today Christina posted on IG. She also posted a few photos, and her caption reads, "I really can't believe it's been 13 years. I don't know where the time has gone. I feel as if it was just yesterday, but I also know how much I've grown since then and how much more I understand about life, the universe, the frailty of success, the beauty of that frailty, the fickle nature of our business, the beauty of that fickle nature in helping me grow as a soul on this earth. I am so lucky and grateful for my path. I'm so lucky to be able to bring my energy and interpretation to different characters that grace your TV screen. Thank you for watching and supporting and being friends and fans and family. That's a lot of F's. Here's to a lucky 13 years and to forever, time and again." Um, and again, clearly that was her breakout role, and she's talking about her career since then, which she's done a lot of awesome work since then, and clearly very appreciative of the fans that she made in the Halloween franchise. And Dee Wallace too also posted on IG her own remembrance. She of course played Laurie's mom in the film, and we met her and interviewed her in 2016 as well, but we didn't get a chance to talk about Halloween. So I'll leave that interview out of here right now. We did talk about Death House though. but she was really awesome. She just posted a quick little anniversary note on Instagram, and she says, "Happy anniversary to the film where I first worked with one of my favorite directors and met my second daughter." So I thought that was pretty nice, pretty sweet that the cast members are reminiscing, that Rob is aware and reminiscing of today's 13th anniversary, and so that's what I've been doing today. I haven't rewatched the films today. I haven't had time to do that, but the day's not over yet. You never know. I might uh, pop one of them in, but yeah, that's just some of the reasons why I really enjoy the Rob Zombie films, and I try to encourage people to number one, check out the director's cuts if you haven't already, because especially in the case of the sequel, you're missing out on a lot of the best stuff if you haven't seen that. And yeah, you know the horse. I mean, there's some things I get it, but there's so much good stuff in there, and for the gore hounds, for the for as far as the kills, I mean, yeah, you can't really beat H2 as far as the extreme kills, and um and that's the one thing that Tyler Mane also said the last time we saw him last year at Haunted Screams Expo. He was asked if he would play Michael again, if asked, and basically his answer was he would, but only if it was Rob Zombie directing it. And his reasoning was, and I'll read you his quote. He says, "If I was going to portray Michael Myers again, I would have to take him to the next level for me personally, because I just don't want to do the same thing, or I don't want to do something lesser. And taking Rob's stuff to the next level, I don't know what I'd have to do to make it more vicious and more brutal. So never say never, but I don't think I would do it again unless Rob was doing it." So again, leaving it open, the possibility of never say never, which is always good. You always want to leave it open. But yeah, I mean, where do you go from H2? I mean, that was Michael at his most brutal, and if brutal kills are what you're after, then again, that's worlds away from the '78 film and from what Carpenter did. But it is its own thing, and like I said in the beginning, that's kind of what those films are all about. It's a director taking the reins and doing his own thing, and yeah, I keep saying it's different flavors. I mean, sometimes I feel like the '80s nostalgia of H4 and the Jamie Lloyd trilogy. Sometimes I just want some Season of the Witch. Sometimes I want turn of the century Laurie Strode, in which case we've got H2O and Resurrection, and sometimes I just want extreme Halloween, extreme Michael Myers, and that's the Rob Zombie films for me. Um, a lot of times here lately, since 2018, I've been feeling like the 2018, because that is very nostalgic of the '78 and of course the original H2. So I enjoy them, and yeah, I encourage you to give them a chance at least. And if you haven't in the last decade or so, maybe give those directors cuts another chance in with different mindset. Because I hear a lot of people say that I went to see it in the theater and I walked out, I couldn't finish it, and I've never or I hated the remake and I never watched the sequel, and I just feel like, I mean, because they are so different. I've heard some people that love the sequel that hate the remake, and vice versa. So, but I think this franchise is big enough. Like I've said, it's very much like Batman to me, or Spider-Man, where different actors and different directors and different writers, but at the end of the day, it's characters we love, and an overall mythology that we enjoy. And I think Michael and the Halloween franchise is big enough to support all of that. And as I've said before, after these next two movies, I'm sure we'll have another 5 to 10 years of downtime before it's reimagined again. And I just hope they don't uh, call a fourth film just Halloween. That's my only that's going to start getting confusing. If it's not confusing enough already, I think the fourth one, uh, it's going to be a little more difficult. But because now we've got a Halloween and a Halloween, which is essentially a origin slash remake slash reimagining, and then a Halloween, which is a sequel, but is also sort of a reboot. So again, I kind of call it a requel, uh, for whatever that's worth. So let's see. John and Rob don't get along. Yeah, I don't know where things stand with them right now. Um, and again, I don't even know how true the story of the conversation is, but I know Rob Zombie has told that story many times, and especially around the release of the film. And so if it's true that John said make it your own, then yeah, I think Rob definitely did that. Where their relationship stands now, who knows? Um, yeah, the Batman trailer's insane. Yeah, yeah. Now that's a whole another video conversation, but yeah, I'm stoked on Batman next year. Yeah. Yeah, I did see some YouTube video a few years ago where John said something. I forget where I saw that or where it was from. But again, I mean, things are said all the time, so who knows where it's at now if things have changed between them, for the better or for the worse. So that's kind of my spiel on the Rob Zombie films, and and just a few things that I really enjoy about them. I mean, I do think the casting for the most part was great. I liked what Tyler did as Michael. Again, you know, the original Michael is very, you know, kind of every manish, you know, kind of average, and that's part of what makes him so terrifying. This Michael was terrifying before he put on a mask, before he started killing people, by his sheer size. He was terrifying. So, but again, it's a different flavor. Scout as Lori, especially watching the epic arc of that character from her wholesomeness in the opening of, I guess it's the opening second middle part of Halloween '07 to where she ends up in H2O. I mean, gosh, just some great acting there, and a great arc for that character. And and Danielle, I love seeing everything that she did. Especially again, I go back to that sequel where those two, Danielle and Scout, really got to flex their acting muscles, um, a lot in that movie, and especially in that director's cut. And that's one of my favorite aspects of that film is how it deals with Laurie and Annie's trauma, um, you know, which is something that's come back around with the 2018 film, and it's dealing with Laurie's trauma 40 years later. H2O did in its own way 20 years later, where it manifests as her alcoholism, and so I mean, I'm you know I'm in awe of their work in the Halloween 2, especially those two, and especially that director's cut. Like I said, that's really the only cut I watch of that movie. Certainly, um, the ending is you know, it's again a Michael we've never seen before, but I think it is the proper ending to that story. um and then going back to '07, you know, Christina Klebe as the new Linda, I thought was great. And going back to her post today 13 years ago, that kind of introduced her to audience members like me, and I followed her career, and she's done a lot of great films that I've watched over the years. She's appeared in some great TV shows. Um, One of my favorite things she did was she was in Joe Dante's segment of the Tales of Halloween anthology film that came out a few years ago. If you guys aren't familiar with that, look that up. Last I checked, I think it was streaming on Amazon Prime, but it's called Tales of Halloween, and Christina's awesome in that. And and again, I loved Daig's performance as young Michael, um, Hannah Hall as Judith. I thought did great, and I really liked Sherry's performance in the first movie. I thought as Michael's mom, I thought it was really great. William Forsythe as the asshole stepdad. You know, I thought he did brilliantly. I mean, he's very believable, and what a great scene, his death, by the way. I love I love his death scene with young clown Michael there. I'm not going to bother with any spoilers because obviously, if you're watching this, then you've seen all these movies a million times, and we don't have to worry about spoiling anything on a 13-year-old film. I don't think. But and again, going back to the performances and the casting of horror icons, uh, brilliant use of horror icons. I love Malcolm as Loomis, but I love Brad Dourif as Sheriff Brackett. Um, and again, especially going in to Halloween 2, I think he gets a lot more screen time in that. And every time I see Annie's death in that film, it's his reaction that is one of the best scenes I would say in the entire franchise. Honestly, I mean his Brad Dourif's performance in finding Annie, um, yeah, it's just heartbreaking, and it's just great acting from a great performer, and and the way Zombie just twists the knife a tiny bit by putting that like a quick frame or two of young Danielle, as if just to send a little, one last little wink, one last little stab, if you want, to us franchise fans. Yeah, that's the little girl that that we watched grow up fighting Michael Myers, and here she is now as a different character, but here she is in this epic death scene. Um, yeah, I think it was just a huge moment for the franchise, and just a heartbreaking scene on every level. In the best ways, though. It's one of the best parts of that film, in my opinion. Um, Again, I could sit here and talk about the negative aspects. I'm sure other people would do that for me in the comments, and that's fine. They're welcome to it. But overall, I love those films. Um, and I could go on and talk about them more, but I'm just going to wrap it up here and say that, happy anniversary to Halloween '07, and happy belated anniversary to Halloween 2 '08. And yeah, I'm glad that those movies exist, just like I'm glad that 2018 exists, and that all of the other sequels exist, because you know I'm all about the different flavors of this franchise and how they've broken their own rules more times than any other franchise that I can think of. And so here's to H07. That's a see the Happy Halloween. It's a Michael Myers mango twist, by the way. That's what I call it anyway. October 31st, 2020, HK trailer Unleashed, light it up. Hey, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a full trailer, but I would, like I've said, I think in October we'd probably get some kind of teaser, maybe more substantial than what we've got before, maybe a little longer version of what we got a few months ago with the delay announcement. I don't know, but I have not heard anything yet. It's just knowing how things normally go, and they have, in the hands of Blumhouse and Universal, been very aware of anniversaries. If you look back, you know the first poster was released exactly 6 months before Halloween 2018, and and then the trailer was just a few months after that. And so, and when they last Halloween came along, they did release uh, that quick little behind the scenes tease of the filming of Halloween Kills. So, and we know the film's done too. They've got, not that they couldn't change things, but they've got all that footage. They and they know that us fans are going to be hungry and looking for some kind of treat to tide us over for a few months anyway. So who knows? But like I said, I was kind of hoping that maybe we'd get a last minute push for a Halloween 2018 Blu-ray with the alternate ending we haven't seen, some of the other deleted scenes that we heard about being filmed that we haven't seen, mostly related to that original ending. Um, Not even that I think it'll be necessarily better or worse. I just, as a fan, I would love to see uh, all all the deleted scenes. There's still deleted scenes from the other sequels. From H5, we heard them talking not long ago about discovering new scenes from H5. So who knows? But yeah, October 31st, 2020. Will it be on the 31st? Will it be on October 15th, which would be 1 year to the day before HK? I don't know. I don't know. I kind of feel like it would be Halloween Day in a way. Uh, the the word Halloween is definitely going to be trending that day, clearly, and they can kind of almost co-opt that in a way by releasing some of the marketing, or maybe we get something both days even. Maybe a teaser poster and another 30-second tease. I don't know. Um, but I'd be more surprised if we didn't get anything at all than whatever happens. But we'll have to wait and see. It's not going to be long now, though. I mean, 2 months. 2 months from today is Halloween, the 31st. So, and we'll have plenty to talk about when that happens. And I could still spend a whole night at some point just dissecting the few seconds from the Let It Burn video that came out a few weeks ago, because there's so much in there that I could talk about. But but tonight it was Rob Zombie night, so hopefully I didn't bore you too much. And for those of you that just can't stand those films, again, I respect your opinion, and just be be respectful to those of us that do enjoy them, for what they are. And I think that's all you can really do, is just enjoy them for what they are. And yeah, not really any other franchise news happening right now. We talked last week about Carpenter's comments about uh, HK from the Fantasia Film Festival, and so I'm not going to go over that again. We've kind of been over that, and not a whole lot of quotes or anything coming out right now. I know my buddy James Jude Courtney is gonna be interviewed by Sean and Christopher over on The Thing with Two Heads uh, in the next few days. That video should be coming out, so we'll see what if they get some scoops out of him, or something new, and we'll have that to talk about next week. And let me know what you want to talk about next week. Maybe we focus in on a different sequel, or a different timeline. Um, there's plenty to talk about when it comes to this franchise. We do have some more products coming out. I mean, Fright Rags just put out some more re-released T-shirts, and there's always toys, figures coming out, and maybe I'll bring some of mine down. The only thing I brought down tonight was from our display shelf is the Michael Myers Halloween '07 shot glass, which got from Spirit Halloween, I think, maybe 2 years ago. And yes, that's for use only on Monday nights, or I guess any night in October will work too. But I did bring that down, so cheers to you guys. Happy Michael Myers Monday, everybody. Let me know, like I said, as always, in the comments, uh, what you want to talk about, and next week, and we'll do it again. As always, I'm Matt. HalloweenDailyNews.com is our home base. Thank you all for tuning in for Michael Myers Monday. Thank you for subscribing, and if you haven't already, then please do hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share. The bigger we can grow this audience, the more we can grow our presence here on Monday nights, and maybe bring in some special guests from time to time. I've talked to a few people that might be potential guests here in the near future, uh, which you guys would probably be very pleased with if that happens. So, but we just we want to make it worth everybody's while, and get the viewership up just a little bit before we start doing that. And thanks for watching my other videos on the channel. Mitchell, you mentioned the Scooby Doo, Happy Halloween Scooby Doo, and we did one last week on Adam Sandler's Hubie Halloween, and there'll be more stuff like that coming. And I definitely appreciate you guys watching that and supporting all of our content here on the channel. As I've said, you know, we don't have a lot of the content we normally would be having this time of year, like convention coverage and store walkthroughs, which hopefully I'm going to get out and do some store walkthroughs here soon. But as it is right now, um, you know, so trying to do some more produced videos, some more news items, and bring more of what we do at HalloweenDailyNews.com here to the HDN YouTube channel. So again, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And yeah, happy Halloween. It's pretty much September now. So it's officially Halloween season. It's not Labor Day weekend. Technically, I don't think this weekend, but it's September after tonight. So happy Halloween, everybody. Happy Michael Myers Monday. Thanks again for watching. Share the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment and let me know what you want to talk about next week. Obviously Michael Myers, but any of the sequels or projects that questions that you guys might have. I might not have the answer, but I might, and or I might be able to find it. So just let me know. And thanks again for those of you that have been watching each week. I see you out there, and we keep getting more. And for those of you that just tuned in for the first time this week, again, welcome. Hopefully, hopefully I didn't bore you too much, and you'll come back next week and for our future videos because we've got a lot more good content coming. So I'm gonna sign off now, guys, and maybe go pop in a Michael Myers DVD or a Blu-ray, maybe one of these. I don't know. But if you guys are watching a Michael Myers movie, again, let me know in the comments. And I'm sure you will. So all right, everybody. Happy Michael Myers Monday.